Hey there, I'm Justin Grubb, host of the Running Wild TV series, and right now you're basically looking at everything you're going to need if you're going to be traveling internationally for a week or 2 weeks. In this video, I'm going to go through all the equipment that's essential for traveling and things you need and things you don't need. So one of the things I'm going to start with is the backpack. This backpack is small enough to be carry-on compatible. And I like a backpack that has a front pouch with a lot of inserts on it so you can kind of keep your gadgets and other things organized. And then a big pouch in the middle where you can put your clothes and your souvenirs. Another thing I like to see in a backpack is a hydration pouch. You want a way you can stay hydrated. Well, a hydration pack works perfectly. You can run it up the strap, run it across your chest, and just drink water that way. Another thing I like to see is this kind of handle here, because when you're getting on a plane, getting off a plane, moving on a taxi, getting on a bus, it's easy to just grab the handle and throw it under the seat, put it in your lap, put it on the thing above. So the backpack is very important for when you're traveling internationally, because you want to make sure it's big enough to hold this stuff, but you don't want it too big because you're going to be inclined to start packing more and more stuff just to fill it. So this is a 27-liter backpack, and it's made from a very light, rip-resistant material. Now we're going to move towards some of the smaller gadgets that you're going to need when you're traveling internationally. Like I always say, the most important thing that you can bring is your passport, because you're not going to go anywhere without the passport, and the copy of the passport, because if you lose your actual passport, you can take this to the embassy and make getting a replacement a little bit easier. Another thing I like to pack on a pack like this is a small med kit. I put anti-diarrheal and then pink bismuth and motion sickness medicine in here, as well as band-aids and tape and gauze pads, that sort of thing. In case you're out traveling and you get a scrape or you get a bump, you can pack it up yourself, no problems. Something that's really important, especially if you're heading east, is an international plug adapter. They're not too expensive and they're not too large. They're very easy to use. You have different adapters built into the thing, so you can use it in many different countries. And then there is the USB port that plugs into it, or they have an adapter for the American Standard and any other type of plug that you would need to adapt to. Something I find very useful is having a flashlight. Flashlights are always useful. Something small, even smaller than this would be perfect, but I would always encourage someone to use an LED light because it saves battery and it burns a lot brighter than any sort of other light that's available on the market. A journal is always good to have. This is very small. What I usually use a journal for is like writing down notes, like where buses are picking up at, what times buses are running, what time my flights are, all that kind of stuff. It's easy to just have some paper and a pen handy so you can write it down and keep track of it. So a piece of equipment that I usually bring that's essential for the one backpack traveling experience is all-purpose soap. Now this soap can be used for dishes, it could be used for clothes, it could be used for shampoo, and it could be used as a body wash, and it's biodegradable. So you can honestly get away with having a backup pair of clothes and then just wash your primary, wear the backup when those get dirty, and just cycle them through and continuously using the soap. You can use this in a bathroom, if you're staying at a hotel, a hostel, even if you have to stop at a restaurant and use their bathroom. You can use the tap water and wash it in the sink. Since it's biodegradable, you could use it in the wilderness if you're wilderness traveling. I would encourage you to not use soap like this in an area of water, even though it does say it's biodegradable. We don't know the impact that the soap is going to have on the waterway. There are animals trying to live in that water, so I would encourage you to get the water, put it in an Nalgene bottle or some sort of other water-containing device, move it 100 feet away from that water source, and go ahead and pour it on your clothes, pour it on your dishes, or if you're washing your hair, just pour it on your hair while you're rinsing it, have someone do it for you. This is a way to even minimize the impact that we have on the environment. Even though it is biodegradable, this is a next step to make sure that it definitely doesn't impact the environment. Some hygiene things. I encourage everybody to get a very small toothbrush, and a mini deodorant is best because it's not big, it doesn't take up a whole lot of room. You're not going to go through it too quickly. If you just buy one for a week trip, you'll be completely fine. As far as patching things up and fixing things, I have a roll of duct tape, And what you could do with the duct tape is you can get rid of the cardboard on the inside, usually by soaking it because the cardboard will disintegrate. And then you're left with an easily crushable roll of duct tape that still works and is still plenty sticky. Another important piece of equipment that you want to have when you're traveling abroad is some sort of a phone. It could be a global phone, or sometimes I just bring my iPhone. It doesn't have a SIM card, but you can connect to the internet when you're at the hotel or hostel or whatever. But if you're traveling alone, I would strongly encourage using a global phone because this will not get any sort of signal if you're outside of a hotspot. And of course, you'll need your phone traveler. Another thing about the global phone or iPhone is I would encourage everyone to have a waterproof case, because if you're traveling abroad and your phone gets wet, then there's really nothing you can do. Phones aren't too expensive. Some places they're pretty cheap, but it's still not worth the hassle trying to get a replacement phone that you have to leave there or you can't use in the United States. So just take the extra precaution and get a good case for your phone and make sure that it can withhold any sort of traveling, any bumps or any water along the way. So now I'm going to move on and start talking about the clothes that you're going to need when you're traveling abroad. A shirt that I love to bring with me is the Get Lost High Performance Heather Tee. There's no cotton in this t-shirt, and so it's very light, it dries super quick, and it doesn't smell after a while. And that's very important when you're only traveling with very few articles of clothing. But if you're, using these shirts to wash every other night, it's very important that they dry extremely quick. Another similar shirt is very light, but it's a long sleeve. It's a little thicker, keeps you warm. I have a pair of backup khakis. I like to have zip-offs because instead of bringing a pair of shorts and a pair of pants, you just combine them into one, and it's a lot lighter and easier to pack. So it's a zip-off pair of pants. Again, very minimal cotton because cotton absorbs water and it's very hard to dry and it smells bad, so avoid cotton as much as you can. Another thing I bring is this little plastic belt. It's easier to get through TSA. You don't have to take your belt off. It's not heavy. It's really light, and I like it because it's very easy to work with. Underwear is important. Bring at least 2 or 3 backup pairs of underwear, even though you're going to be washing them consistently. You might go through 2 pairs of underwear in a day depending on what you eat. And that brings me to my next point. Dark underwear is usually the best because it hides sweat stains and other accidents you might have, especially if you're traveling to Costa Rica. So socks are very important. You want to always have several pairs of socks because, again, you can go through 2 socks a day depending on where you're at. So having extra socks is definitely good. And I also prefer dark socks because it hides dirt a lot better. So I like to bring some sort of a hat or some sort of head protection because this will keep the sun out of your eyes. This will keep your head warm if it's cold out. And so this is a Get Lost hat. It's also quick dry, so if it gets wet or you're sweating through it, it'll dry quickly, so it's not going to smell too bad after a while. And then one of the most important things that you could bring on this trip is your footwear. And I would strongly encourage everyone to go out and get a pair of waterproof hiking boots because these are the shoes that you're going to be wearing most of the trip. You may be able to stick a pair of sandals in the backpack depending on where you're going, if you're heading somewhere tropical or to the beach. It's not a bad idea, but if you're traveling, in the cities, this is good because it's heavy duty, it's got a good tread, you won't slip, and it's got a lot of protection for your foot. So, well, I hope you enjoyed learning all about what to take when you travel abroad if you want to have a single backpack. If you have any questions, please let us know. Check out our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and ask us any questions you have, so comment on the page below. Thanks for watching.